So you have made up your mind that you are relocating to the US. The dream is alive, the plans are moving on, but now you have one big, heavy question. Should I go alone or should I take my whole family along? In other words, you're talking about your wife and your children. It sounds simple, but anyone who has been in this position knows this decision is far from easy. It is the kind of question that can keep you up at night. It affects everything: your finances, your mental health, your ability to settle in quickly, and even how you experience life in a new country like the United States of America. And the truth is, nobody can decide this for you. But what I can do here is to help you see the real picture. By the end of this video, you will have a clearer understanding of which option makes sense for you. Hello, I'm Pastor Opotusi, and you are watching the Nigeria in America podcast. Walking with purpose, rising with grace. Let's address the part nobody wants you about, the emotional side of relocation. When you choose to move alone, of course, you gain a level of freedom that can be very refreshing, that can be helpful. In other words, you are not responsible for anyone else, just you and you alone. You get to make decisions faster, focus on building yourself. This can be very good, especially when you think about, I'm just on my own. And then you now get to a picture where you are now saying, hey, can I just move from one place to another? Especially if you get a job. Can I move to another state? Can I move to another city? The truth is that when you are alone, you can pick up your bag, you can pick up your baggage without thinking twice. That freedom is very good, honestly speaking. But then, having said that, as good as that may sound, especially if you have a spouse that you work together very well, you have always do things, in unity. You have a family that is very close-knitted. That can become a challenge in you being alone. It can become lonely very quickly. This is the reality. Don't forget that the environment already is lonely. So when you now have your own house, your immediate constituent, where you sleep and wake up every day, becoming lonely is challenging. Homesickness doesn't always hit immediately. It comes gradually. The first day you are excited in America, 1 week you are excited, 1 month, but after a while, you start to miss the small things, your family laughter, or even hearing your native language being spoken around you. And let's not lie, there will be days you will wish someone was there to talk to you. Now, if you decide to relocate with your family, the emotional experience is different. You are never truly alone. Your spouse, children, or siblings become your immediate support system. They can share in your struggles, and having family around can ease the cultural shock. When you are with your family, it's like carrying a piece of your home with you. But there is the other side of it. Relocating with family comes with emotional responsibility. Listen carefully. It comes with emotional responsibility. You are not just managing your own feelings, you are also carrying the weight of your family emotionally. If your children are struggling to adjust in school, guess what? It's your problem. If your spouse is finding it hard to settle, again, that becomes another headache for you, and you will feel it deeply. Whatever affects A, affects B, affects C, affects D. So when it affects your wife, it affects you, it affects your children, it affects you. The pressure to make it work is heavier. You will sometimes realize that as you are trying to settle down, your wife is trying to settle down, your children, they are also trying to settle down. This can become a lot of pressure on the family. The children are trying to see how to get by. They have issue with their accent. Your wife is dealing with that at work. Maybe you have just lost your job. Maybe your wife just lost her job. All these things can become so heavy. Now let's talk about money, because relocation is not just an emotional journey. It's a serious financial commitment. Whether you are moving alone or with your family, the cost implication is very, very different. So you have to weigh the financial implication on yourself. Now, if you choose to relocate alone, your initial expenses are much lower. Yes, much lower. You are paying for just one flight ticket. Finding a small apartment or shared accommodation can be quite cheaper. And not only that, your monthly bills like feeding, like gasoline, even your utility, your telephone, they are quite easier to manage. You also have the flexibility to be able to take an entry-level job to get started. You are more mobile, you are more flexible because you are only responsible for yourself, and you take more time to plan for the future without immediate pressure of supporting others. But here is what relocating with your family does. It changes the entire equation. Changes with your family, changes with yourself going on at the same time. It is another equation completely. There is an upfront cost much higher. Imagine paying for multiple flight tickets. Finding a bigger apartment suitable for your family. When you are relocating with 2 children, maybe you have one boy and one girl, and then you are married, you may be required to have a 3-bedroom apartment. Or you have 3 children, this might require you to even have a 4-bedroom, and that can become a big ball game. Managing day-to-day living, expenses for more than just yourself. Expenses do add up quickly in America. Don't forget that when you are with your family, it matters when you get back home. It matters when you leave home. And this is important because sometimes you can make more money being alone because you can decide to take another job. It can make things easier for you. There's another thing that you should also factor in, that paperwork costs money. Legal processes cost money. So if you are relocating alone, the visa processes is usually faster. Not only faster, it's usually cheaper. That when you have to process documents of multiple people, paperwork can become bulk when you are relocating with your family. You need to prove you can support them financially, sometimes as it will be required for student visa or some other kind of visa. And I tell you this, for family-sponsored visas, it can stretch for years. And this one can weigh you down. Be aware that not all dependent visa allow you to work. For example, you are on student visa, your spouse may not be able to work. In other words, you are going to school alone. Before you know it, you are looking for how to also take care of your family, including your children. This can become a challenge. All this reality, they really adds up. This is something that I've seen happening to a lot of, especially foreign students. They come with their wife, they come with young children, and thinking that, it's just going to be easy to ride on all these things. But at the end of the day, they stop going to school. So the purpose of being in America becomes defeated. Guess what? They run out of status. And this is a big deal. It's difficult for them to get help when you're out of status on your visa. So please make sure that you know the paperwork you are dealing with, the visa you are dealing with. Are you able to work? Can your spouse work? All these things, they are very important. So for solo movers, you are going to move alone, these considerations are minimal. Even approvals also doesn't come easy when you are with your family. And there's something I also want to point out for those who are not relocating with their family. Don't forget that sometimes processing their paper from there can be a bigger challenge, that is sometimes it's better for them to come with you. For example, some people do one green card lottery visa. They decide they want to come alone and leave their family behind. But you realize that by the time you are getting here, before you settle down and you get your families, the process of coming to join you in America, you realize it's not just a matter of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. And I'm telling you, I've seen spouses, families separated for even up to 10 years, even more than that. So you have to weigh that. Is it better now that we all relocate together and we deal with it together in America? Or should we leave some behind and then we deal with this challenge separately? And I'm telling you, especially for spouses that are very close, family that are closely knitted, if you get to separate the two, they can become a challenge. I've seen people going into divorce because of this. People become frustrated. They're always shouting on each other on the phone. They're always disagreeing. At the end of the day, you are just wondering, is this whole thing really worth it? Please really make up your mind. Do you want to come alone? Do you want to come with your family? This is a big decision, and we must make sure that we weigh the consequences. Relocation is not just about getting into a new country. It's about how much freedom and flexibility you have to build a life that works for you. And whether you move alone or with your family, this flexibility will look very different. If you decide to move alone, you automatically give yourself more career mobility. These flexibilities can fast track your career because you can adapt quickly to whenever and wherever the best opportunity arises. So when you are relocating with your family, that flexibility becomes limited. I mean, very limited. It's just like you are driving a trailer or driving a car. When you are alone, you are like driving a car. With your family, it's like driving a truck. So your lifestyle decision also becomes family-centered when you are with your family. You are thinking about school districts for the children, proximity to healthcare. You think about the neighborhood, whether your children will be okay in that neighborhood. Even your social life changes because instead of attending networking events in the evening, you might need to go back home and be with your family. You might have to do school runs or even helping with homework. Don't forget your children are trying to adapt at the same time. That being said, relocation with family can give you a sense of long-term rootedness. So if you are still torn between relocating alone or with your family, here are some smart strategies that many Nigerians have used to make the transition smoother. Face your relocation approach. In other words, let one person, usually the one that can benefit the family most, be the one to relocate first. Again, this person comes around, prepare the ground by securing accommodation, understanding the local system, and building financial stability for the family. Then the rest of the family can then join once things are more settled. Also, we talk about planning, remote family planning. While one person is abroad, the family back home can actively assist with research. So while you are away, you are also part of the planning of what is going on in America. Of course, that can take its toll because there is time difference. So while one is sleeping, another one is awake. But all these things can also go hand in hand. So the question before you is, what is your long-term goal? So if you are going to relocate alone, it might be better for you if you are coming as a student, or if you know you are coming to stay just for a little while. But if you are just migrating and you are coming to stay for a very long time, then it might be better for all of you to come together. So you have to weigh your long-term goal. Don't forget, in one of our earlier video, the question of why came up. Why are you relocating? I want you to drop your questions, drop your comments, and maybe we can be able to help you in one way or the other. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in our next video.
Walking with purpose, rising with grace, faith and family, we find our place. Talking rich, our roots run deep. Nigeria in America.